All right, folks, Captain Paul here, and today I want to talk about, can you get a captain's license and what can you do with it and can you make any money? Next week's video, I want to get back into, what's the right time to buy a boat and what boat do you buy? So next week we'll get back into the boat buying stuff. But this week I really want to talk about you're getting your marine credentials. So this is a merchant marine credential here. I have a 100-ton captain's license. I am personally in a drug consortium. So that means randomly at any time. This also screwed me one time, for you guys, especially you guys looking for your captain's license, because what happens is I think, everybody has this dream of getting this captain's license and it could change their lives. Well, it can, but just because you have this captain's license right here, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just you took a written test and you passed the test. It has no merit to driving a boat at all. It has, you're interested in a boat and you got to have your sea time, but having your sea time doesn't mean you have it at these throttles, and at these controls. So when I hear, the statement, especially you guys out there, saying, hey, how should I get my captain's license? Should I not get my captain's license? Are you going to use it? How am I going to use it? And then another thing that aggravates the shit out of me is when I hear the statement, there's so much work out there. Anybody can go. You can make hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's not true. None of that is true. Getting your captain's license and then putting it to work are two different things, because let me explain it to you like this. If you go take the test and you get this captain's license, you got to have the correct credentials for what you're doing. So a lot of insurance companies require like a 25-ton, 50-ton, or 100-ton. To get my job where I work at Little Palm, it takes a 100-ton captain's license for insurance reasons purposes. So you got to think about that. So what do you qualify for? If you just qualify for a 6-pack, it'll do you good and it's a stepping stone, but it's not, you don't have enough there to go get a job like at Little Palm or something like that, just because for what the insurance requires. Also, what kind of time does it take after you get your captain's license or before you get your captain's license? Because a true captain has nothing to do with this license right here. It really doesn't. In my opinion, and this is just, this is like Adam this last week or two, or no, last month when I went over there to Boston and I did some yacht training with him. This is a 50-year-old guy, had no experience in these big boats, and after 4 days of training, he's able to slip the boat by himself with no problem. But that is 10 hours a day. That's basically what we worked on the boat, 10 hours a day, so that's 40 hours of training. And I would say in fair weather, he could slip that boat with no problem at all. But what does it take to really, what I'm saying, for somebody to release you on, let's say, their $1 million yacht and head up the East Coast? Don't you guys think that you would need a little experience? Don't you think insurance companies and these owners, what's your resume? How many times have you done this trip before? Don't you think you would have to have a little something? It's just like any other job. You got to have experience and you got to know what you're doing. For you to just go out and get one of these captain's license and then, expect to fill your wallet, up, but you don't have any experience, it's not going to happen for you. I don't want to disappoint you, but it's just the reality of it. You're not going to get, that captain's license it's nothing to you, it's nothing to anybody, because it's just like anything else. You got to put the time in and put the work in. For me, myself, I put $150,000 of my own cash up before I ever even got my captain's license, and that was to buy the boat, the cash it took to do America's Great Loop, to know where to stop, where to go into, how to get into these marinas. I would say it takes, to really captain a boat, it takes probably somewhere at least, 200 to 300 dockings. The average boater will only dock a boat maybe 20 to 25 times a year. And that's if he's an extreme boater and he does a lot of boating. So just think about that. When you do America's Great Loop, it's 90 days. That's all the loop is. It's literally no, 90 days, 3 months. Yeah, it's 3 months. So it's 90 dockings. So you don't even have 100 dockings doing America's Great Loop. Just remember that. I just put that into perspective, if that makes sense to you. And I believe it takes, to really be able to captain. And when I say that, when I was like out at, over there in Boston, and I'm with Adam, and I'm at the helm. He's at the helm of the boat, and then I'm able to read the water. I'm a 15 second, not 15 seconds, probably about 5 seconds ahead of what's happening with that boat, and I'm able to grab the control, see what's going to happen, and know that he's in trouble, and then be able to grab the helm from him, straighten the boat out, and then give it back to him. And this all has to happen within 10 to 15 seconds. You got to be able to read the water. You got to be able to read the current. You got to be able to read the engines, the wind, all of it together. And that kind of experience, this is my opinion now, and I want to hear you guys' comments on this. It probably takes somewhere around 1,000 dockings. I personally, this is what I do at Little Palm. I do about 20 dockings every single night. I do that every single day, 5 days, 4 to 5 days a week. So, do I get lots of dockings, and am I able? It took me even when I got to Little Palm. Now, I had done America's Great Loop a couple of times. I've been on probably 25 different boats, and that you can't replace that knowledge. You can't replace that experience. But when I jumped on that boat, I was still probably 2 weeks of hardcore training to be able to do that boat. And even then, to get to the skill level that I'm at now is, probably took another 6 months that's me driving the boat every single day for those 6 months. And that's what it takes, to really, really make the discipline. Now, can you make $100,000 with your captain's license? Well, Little Palm it's about a $60,000 a year job, but it does pay full-time benefits. I do have vacation time, sick time, and all of that stuff. I wouldn't say it's a great job. I think many years ago, captain had a little bit more respect. The job had a little bit more respect, and I think the pay was a little higher. Also, down here in the Keys, you can make, even with your six-pack license, if you're a good fisherman, you can make, you can make over six figures. You make $100,000 a year. I'm not a fisherman, so that's not an option for me. But if I was, and I loved it, yeah, easily I could make over $100K a year here, right here in the Keys with my captain's license and with just having a six-pack. But that all requires what the insurance company is going to require, because sometimes the insurance companies, even when I go to sign off, let's just say, I'm going to use Adam as an example. I had to fill out a form for his insurance company of my credentials and who I was and what was the last boats that I was on. They weren't considered about boats 5 years ago or anything. What was the last boats you were on, and what size were they, and how many days of training did you do on those? That's a form that I had to fill out for his insurance company. And then after I got done with training with him, I had to go back in and explain to them, what kind of training he had, and then also, what his skill level was after that 40 hours of training. And I had to fill out a form for that too. And that was for his insurance company. And that's why I have a captain's license. Because with that, it gives me credibility with the insurance companies, and that's why I have mine. If I didn't, though, for as far as to move boats, to do deliveries on boats, you don't have to have a captain's license. But again, it's for insurance companies. And then I want to reiterate this: a lot of delivery companies, if you're just like a regular delivery, yacht delivery company, the owner of the boat is not allowed on the boat. It's just captain and crew. And you can get away. No, I don't think you can, because it has to be a licensed crew member. For us, we have to sign into this drug consortium. I talked about this a little bit in the beginning of the video. I have to go in randomly at any time and go do a drug test. And if I do not pass that drug test, I lose my captain's license and all of my credentials. And that could be randomly. I've already had it done once since I've been at Little Palm. So when I took the job at Little Palm, I had to pass a drug. I had to go down to the Coast Guard station, or whatever. It was a medical facility, and I had to pass a drug test. Then randomly, I think it was like a month into the job, maybe 2 months. It was bad timing. I just remember that. Because we have one place here in the Keys that we can go to, and it's down in Key West, and I had to be somewhere on my days off, so I couldn't go on Monday, which is the only option, because once the Coast Guard gives you that letter and will hand you that letter, and it's your employer that'll hand it to you, but it's the Coast Guard that issues it, hands it to your employer, and your employer hands it to you. You have 3 days to get to do that drug test. No excuse. You can be at sea, whatever. Once the employer hands you that letter, you have to get to a consortium, and you have to do a drug test. So I had to go on a Saturday, and they couldn't do it in Key West, so I had to run all the way to Miami. And it's part of having the captain's license. Now, my employer did pay for my time and stuff like that, but still, it was a pain in the butt, actually. So you got to think about that when you get your captain's license, because you're held to a higher standards. So a lot of people, is it a good idea to get your captain's license? I mean, yeah, you can learn and you'll have knowledge, and a lot of you guys won't use the captain's license like I do. I use it as a business. I use it as a tool to make money. And if you're going to do it, but you got to pay your dues just like any other job. And can you move up quickly? Yeah. But, a lot of it was like, I had to donate time. I had to go out on these boats for free. I had to, work at a very discounted rate when I was delivering boats a couple of years ago when I was doing that gig. Instead of charging $500 a day or $400 a day, I was at, like $250, $300 a day for yacht deliveries and stuff like that. And it was just, getting somebody that give the confidence that you could do this, is so. I mean, it's just like anything else, paying your dues and pay it forward. So anyway, I just wanted to share that video with you guys, because I do get quite a few phone calls about that. Do I get my captain's license or I don't get my captain's license? I don't think it's absolutely necessary. It's not going to really help you with your insurance. Sea time is what helps your insurance with your insurance company. And then for you guys that need a licensed captain to sign off, I'm always there, or there's plenty of captains out there that are good captains, good qualified captains that can drive these boats, have the experience with these boats, and can help you, and so, but I just happen to be one of them, and I'm happy to help anybody, especially you guys just buying your boat. I've had a few phone calls lately, like, I don't want to pick on you, Tim. But, Tim, he's looking for a cat, and he says, well, what do you think after 8 hours of training? As we get older, the training gets harder. We start to lose some of our cognitive skills. And, is that 8 hours, if you're 70 years old at 8 hours, is that enough yacht training? No, it's not even close. And it depends on what your level is when you bought the boat. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you've never driven a boat, you're 70 years old. Jim did it on the main ship. He bought that 3900 main ship. He bought it, and he was able to take the boat and go do America's Great Loop, and everything worked out great for him. But there was definitely a learning curve there, and I think as we get older, it gets tougher and tougher and tougher. So a 60-year-old guy is going to pick it up faster. A 50-year-old guy is going to pick it up real fast. A 40-year-old guy, I mean, that's just like a sponge, So you just got to think about those things when you're, looking at these boats, especially you guys never owned a boat before and you want to jump into a 50, 60, 70-foot boat. There's some skills involved in driving that boat, and you need to learn those skills. And it's usually better just to pay a captain, because you get years and years of experience helping you drive that boat. Anyway, I hope you guys found the video useful. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Next week, we're going to get back into the boating. When's the right time to buy the boat? What boat is the right boat for you? And that's what we're going to talk about next week. This week right here, I'm actually doing the video on Sundays. I do it a lot of times. I'll do the video on Mondays. But this week, I'm going to go look at a 65-foot Marine Trader, actually, same boat that I'm on right here, but mine's a 44. I'm going to go look at a 65. Can't wait to take you, especially you Patreons, down in the engine room of that thing. I'd love to see it. I can't wait. I'm going there actually Monday. We'll see the boat Tuesday. Then I got to head back here. We have Coast Guard inspections on our new boat. For you Patreons, you got to see the new boat already. Anyway, peace out. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Share it with your friends. I do appreciate it. I just can't say thank you enough to all you guys. I do appreciate it. And, I do get to live a blessed life. Anyway, thank you guys. Bye.